Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's the CD guy, Johnny Z here. Thank you so much for tuning back into the channel. Judas Priest kicked off the Shield of Pain tour yesterday live in Finland with an all-new set list focused primarily on the Painkiller record, with a few live debuts from their most recent album, Invincible Shield, and some added deep cuts as well. Subsequently, fellow new wave of British heavy metal legends Iron Maiden have recently kicked off the Run For Your Lives tour, highlighting the band's work from their debut through the Fear of the Dark record, and the set list has been met with some disappointment from some Iron Maiden fans, so I thought today I'd do a bit of a setlist comparison between these two new tours and determine which setlist I think is stronger. First off, let's refresh everyone's memory on the current Iron Maiden tour setlist for Run For Your Lives. You guys can see it right over here. Kicking things off with the pre-tape of Ides of March, into Murders in the Rue Morgue, Wrathchild, Killers, Phantom of the Opera, The Number of the Beast, The Clairvoyant, Power Slave, 2 Minutes to Midnight, Rime of the Ancient Mariner, Run to the Hills, Seventh Son of a Seventh Son, The Trooper, Hallowed Be Thy Name, Iron Maiden, Back for the Encore, Aces High, Fear of the Dark, and Wasted Years. I did an entire video here on the channel talking the set list for Iron Maiden and sharing my in real-time reaction to the set list as the songs were being confirmed on the band's socials during their first show of the tour in Prague. And, a lot of Maiden fans were disappointed at the lack of, deeper cuts and live debuts, especially considering the fact that Maiden had promised a show like never before. Every song in that set list has been done live before, so that wasn't exactly true. A few of the most requested songs that I've heard, for this tour that did not end up happening, that you guys have been talking about in the comment section that you would have loved to have heard, included, To Tame a Land, Be Quick or Be Dead, Tail Gunner, Die With Your Boots On, and Flash of the Blade. And while I admit all of those songs would have made for welcome additions to the set list in the place of, the same old, like Aces High or Wasted Years, Fear the Dark, etc., I'm not upset with the new Iron Maiden set list personally. I did think it was odd they completely glossed over No Prayer for the Dying, which is far from my favorite Iron Maiden album, but, you'd think they would at least include one song to represent that record, considering they were going, from the debut through Fear of the Dark. But, I loved how heavy the band were going and the early Diano material, right, representing those first 2 albums there, starting the set with 5 Diano-era tracks, including the Ides of March pre-tape. Maybe a tribute to Paul Diano, who passed last year, which, if so, is a great touch. And also one thing, I failed to realize at the time when I was sharing my initial reaction to the set list, but you guys pointed it out, and I thank you for that, was that, they started with Ides, right? Then Murders in the Rue Morgue, then Wrathchild, and that order was a direct callback to the set list order from Bruce's first tour with the band in 1982, which is a really cool Easter egg as well. Hallowed Be Thy Name should never ever leave the Iron Maiden set list, so I'm thrilled that it's back. Same goes for Power Slave. Now let's talk the Judas Priest set list here, which you guys can also see right over here. Getting things started with All Guns Blazing for the first time since 2019. Also, the first time ever as a live opener, which is really cool. Track number 2, Hell Patrol. Track 3, You've Got Another Thing Coming. Track 4, Freewheel Burning. Track 5, Breaking the Law. Track 6, A Touch of Evil. Track 7, Nightcrawler for the first time since 2012. Track 8, Firepower. Track 9, Solar Angels. Track 10, Gates of Hell. Track 11, Metal Gods. Track 12, Serpent and the King, finally, live debut. Battle Hymn into One Shot at Glory. Between the Hammer and the Anvil, Judas Rising. Giants in the Sky, live debut there. Painkiller, Hellbent for Leather, and Living After Midnight. With the exception of 2 tracks, Priest played the entirety of the Painkiller album on this show. And, I guess 35th anniversary tours are a thing now, which, awesome, right? And the whole premise of this tour is based on the name alone, seems to be, a bigger emphasis on the Painkiller record, while also the new album Invincible Shield. And so what was cool here is you had, of course, them playing almost all of Painkiller, but also some really great cuts from the new record, right? Giants in the Sky and Serpent and the King made their live debuts. Gates of Hell returned, and to be honest, I was expecting a little bit more from the new album in this set list, but I'm definitely not going to complain. Serpent and the King is, one of those songs I've been hoping they do live ever since this album was released. It's, in my opinion, their best song in 20 years, so that was really cool. During Giants in the Sky, the band played a tribute to, some deceased rock legends, right, including Lemmy, Ronnie James Dio, Christine McVie, and more, which I thought was a really nice touch. And to my surprise, the band broke out Solar Angels from the Point of Entry record for the first time in 2 decades. Now, I'm not a huge fan of Point of Entry, to be honest. I think there's a lot of filler on this record, but Solar Angels is an awesome deep cut, and unfortunately, from what I saw online, the crowd didn't seem super into it. Definitely an unexpected addition to the set, but a welcome one for me, and I also like that they placed Breaking the Law, and you got anything coming early in the set list. You know, 2 metal essentials, of course, but they've been played to death. I probably never need to hear them again, so I'm kind of glad that they, got them out of the way early, and then focused on the real meat and potatoes of this set list, which was an awesome showcase for Painkiller and a handful of cuts from the new record that really make this set list for me. If I had to choose here between which band's set list I think is better for these 2 new, highly anticipated tours, it's very close. It's tearing me apart here, and I can't wait to hear them both live, but I have to go with Maiden just slightly on this one. And don't get me wrong, this new pre-set list is absolutely killer. Love the showcase for Painkiller. I think it does a great job of, spanning the band's whole career, whereas the Maiden set list kind of cuts off after Fear of the Dark, and most Maiden fans were a little underwhelmed by the set, and I get where they're coming from, in their frustrations with the set list. However, on a personal note for me, I still have never gotten the chance to see tracks like Rime of the Ancient Mariner or Phantom of the Opera, Murders in the Rue Morgue, Seventh Son live. And so, even though I've seen Maiden 8 times now, they're my favorite band, I've never heard those songs live in person, so I'm really psyched for that. And at the end of the day, it's fun to compare set lists, but we're all really lucky that both of these bands are, still operating on such a high level and still, pumping out set lists like this, and so I give the edge to Maiden very slightly here, but we're all winners in the end here. 2 awesome set lists here by Maiden and Priest. My advice to you guys would be, if you get a chance to see them on these tours, definitely go ahead and do it. I'm seeing Priest live with Alice Cooper in a few months. Cannot wait for that. Can't wait to hear Serpent and the King live, finally. Solar Angels as well, and can't wait to hear them, put on a showcase for the Painkiller record here. And for Maiden, hopefully they announce some US dates soon enough. Can't wait to see this tour live. Like I said, I've never heard songs like Phantom or Seventh Son, Rime of the Ancient Mariner live before, so I cannot wait for that. And while some Maiden fans are a little disappointed, maybe they've seen those songs live already before, I personally never have, and so I'm really excited to do so at some point. Probably not until 2026, knowing Iron Maiden coming to the United States, but hopefully sooner rather than later we get some announcement on that. And so that wraps up this video here. Just wanted to do a set list comparison, which set I think is a bit stronger as Priest and Maiden began these 2 very anticipated tours. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel down below, turn on the bell for notifications so you don't miss a new upload, and be sure to let me know down in the comment section below your thoughts on these 2 set lists here and which one you think is stronger. Will you be seeing either of these bands on these tours? Let me know down below. I want to hear from you. And until next time, it's the CD guy, Johnny Z, signing off. Take care, everybody.